Hey everybody. All right, a little bit different video today again, I guess. This subscriber appreciation month contest, the way I've done it, where I've let people go back and watch old videos and share them and comment and stuff like that to get entries, has really done a lot of cool stuff for the channel. And one of the things it's done is it's got new subscribers or people that haven't been around, for years and years, like some of you guys have. Is it's gotten those newer people to see some of the older videos. When I used to do a lot more bushcraft type videos and hiking and camping and stuff like that, which that's not over. I just haven't I haven't done it a lot lately. But I've gotten some comments. Some people have shared some of those videos in places, and I've gone and seen those comments. And people are kind of curious about gear and stuff like that as far as bushcrafting goes, camping, hiking. So I thought I'd start sharing some of that stuff again. Some of you guys are into it for sure. Some of you might be surprised by this if you haven't seen one of these videos since you've been a subscriber. But, if this one's not for you, maybe skip it and come back. The next one will likely be something different. So, but I will do a few of these videos and show you guys some of the gear I use and what I prefer and why. I've been doing this for a long time, so I don't know, I think I could give you some advice on what works for me at least and why. So anyway, knives. You guys have been around for a while, realize I've got a lot of knives. I love knives. 3 brands in particular, almost always. I like to stick with anything I buy. If I can find it locally, I buy it locally. From food to shoes to everything, I try to buy locally. Definitely made in the USA when I can. That's kind of big to me. But if I can buy something in my home state of Ohio, awesome. If I can buy it right down the road from my house, even better. But the 3 brands that I like just so happen to all be in the state of Ohio where I live. And those are LT Wright, Battle Horse Knives, and AA Forge. They just make awesome stuff, and it just so works out that they're here. Both LT Wright and Dan over at Battle Horse Knives, formerly combined as Blind Horse Knives, those 2 companies. Both those guys that own those are awesome friends of the channel and just great people. Hung out with them a lot, done a lot with them. If you've been around the channel for a while, you've seen the BHK debriefing. Spent a few days with those guys out there doing a camp out. Their whole families, basically, at least on Dan's side. His daughter cooked us breakfast, which was awesome. Spent a lot of time with those guys. Bumped into LT back at the Mother Earth News Fair the past couple years. Caught up with him a little bit. And he actually recently, not super recently, I'll put a card up there, sent out one of his Gary Wine's Bushcrafter knives, and we did a video about that. But awesome friends of the channel, and just great guys. I can't say enough nice things about both of those guys. Adam over at AA Forge, also an awesome guy here in the state. But as far as knives go, I got tons of them. My preferences are, I like natural handle materials. I don't like G10 or micarta. It's not really for me. I prefer a wood handle or something natural. And I prefer a Scandi grind for the most part, depending on what task you're using it for. If I could take one knife as an all-around, it's going to be a Scandinavian grind. Thickness, I prefer 1/8 inch thickness, but my preferred knife makers don't, other than Adam at AA Forge. So, which is why, as far as using knives, I prefer to use that knife from him, as opposed to all the other LTs and the BHKs. But this one here, this is my favorite knife, so we'll save that for a second. I could show you tons. I try to keep it to 2. So we'll do this one first. Let me move this out of the way for now. I'm still trying to get over this cold, so I apologize. But alright, first, the sheath. Adam over at AA Forge, he is not a sheath maker, he's a knife maker. So you don't get a sheath with your knife. This is a BHK leather, number 9. So, and then this nonsense, I did myself. So you keep your opinions of that to yourself. The Fire Steel is one that I made, and then the knife itself is right there. This is high carbon steel. I think it's a 521000. I'm not super into that. High carbon steel is what I'm after. Scandi grind is what I'm after. This has got a really nice pattern on the blade. If we can focus here, you can see that. So that's really cool looking. And there's his logo on this side, that A up there. Scandi grind, obviously super sharp right out of the box. It's got a nice Coke bottle shaped handle, which is just super comfortable, and then 1/8 inch thick there. So this thing is just great. 3.5 inch blade, which is really what I prefer. Something smaller. I don't need a 5-6 inch blade. It serves no purpose for me. I'm not out batoning logs with it, although I could. I love axes, so I'm gonna have an axe with me. So I'm not gonna baton with my knife for the most part. I mean, small kindling and stuff like that I'll do, but I just don't. It's not a practice that I get into because I don't find it necessary. So other than that, really, it's just it's an awesome knife. It feels great in my hand. It's just the perfect size for me. Brass pins and a brass lanyard hole. Like I said, ironwood with green micarta scales or liners in there. Super awesome knife from a great company made right here in Ohio. So as far as price goes, and you can find, there's a company that makes a knife that looks just like this. There's a lot of companies that make a knife that looks just like this. As far as the Coke bottle handle shape, the size and shape and all that, you could buy this knife from several manufacturers. One in particular that I can think of would sell you this knife for more than twice. Hey, there's me. For more than twice what I paid from AA Forge. This knife, again, without a sheath, is going to cost you right around the $250 mark. And that might be expensive to some of you, and it might be cheap to some of you. You can pay $500 for this exact knife from another company if you want to, or you can get it from AA Forge for half that. Now, what you're paying for from those other companies, the quality is no different. I can assure you. I've had both. Like I said, I don't want to put that company's name out there because it's none of my business what people charge for their products. I can buy whichever I choose and not buy whichever I choose. So, but there are companies that would sell this exact knife for $500, and they're going to get that price because they're popular on this forum or that forum, and they release things in a way to make them appear to be more rare and more limited, and that's all fine. I'm not going to hate on anyone's business model. I think that's great that they're able to do that. I just choose to, pay half as much because it's just smart to me to do that. But this is the knife that I use most. Probably my favorite to use. The blade thickness and the blade size, the length is just perfect for me. The handle's great for me, and so that would be my favorite knife to use currently right there. Again, you got to pick up a sheath. If you do get one of those knives that size from him, BHK Leather makes awesome sheaths, and they're very affordable. Alright, so that brings me to the second knife here. This is my favorite knife that I have. Again, this is a BHK Leather number 9 with a fire steel that I made, and the knife is a BHK Bushcrafter with curly maple scales, which is going to be tough for it to focus on, but they're almost like 3D. Really awesome. You can see how it kind of shifts there as I move it back and forth. So again, natural handle materials, definitely my favorite. Just beautiful wood on this one. Brass pins. It's got the newer style BHK, the Battle Horse logo. A little bit thicker steel on this one. And as far as the key stats go, this is a 4-inch blade, about a 4.5-inch handle, and it's pretty straightforward. I think this is 01 tool steel, I believe, but it's a carbon steel. And it's got a story behind it, what makes it my favorite all-time knife. It's not my favorite to use, I'll be totally honest. It is a great knife, and it feels great. It's a little thicker than what I prefer, and other than that, it's a perfect knife. I like the way the handle feels a little bit more on that one from AA Forge, and I like the thinner steel and the weight of it, the little shorter blade. I prefer that one to use, but this is by far my favorite knife because of the way it was presented to me. This was actually a gift from Dan, the owner over at Battle Horse Knives. He called me down, let's see, probably close to 3 years ago, and just to hang out, sat around the office and talked to him for a couple hours, went in and looked at the warehouse, all the new stuff that they had put together there, the leather shop. They were actually building a line of the Dave Canterbury's Pathfinder knife. I can't think of what they call it now. It was the PLSK1 or something like that. So I got to play around with all those before you guys got your hands on them that bought them. And just had an awesome time with him. Actually ended up going out to lunch with him and his wife. And we came back. I was sitting around talking to him some more. I'd spent the whole day there. And then I think John is his name, Ashley, Dan's daughter's husband, came in and presented me with this. Just kind of a gift. Dan knew that the Bushcrafter was my favorite model and that the Curly Maple was my favorite scale material. And the reason our visit lasted so long was because they were actually building this while I was there, and he had to kind of stall me for a while. So, just looking at this knife and using it reminds me of that day, and it was so much fun. Such an awesome guy, both him and LT. They're no longer in business together anymore for reasons that everyone has pretty much made up in their head if you look online. But they're both awesome guys, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with Dan and catching up. It had been a while, so that's why this one's so important to me. He didn't have to do that, obviously. They haven't had to do any number of things they've done over the years for the channel and for me. Just a great company. You walk in the door, you can walk right in the door at BHK. Dan's daughter, Ashley, or her husband, John, they're going to be there to greet you as soon as you walk in. More than willing to sit down and talk to you, walk you around, show you everything. Just an awesome, somewhat family-run business. And I just can't say enough about it. And I'm so much more apt to give my business to a company like that than some no-name company that I don't know. If I could buy this knife for $250 from Dan, or I could buy this knife for $150 from some website, I would pay the $250 to go in and have the experience and get to know the guy who built the knife. There's a lot to be said for that. In my book. Plus it's a local business, it's a small business, and they're making these by hand one at a time. They're not pumping them out in a factory somewhere and charging you the same amount still. But I'm getting off topic. but that's what makes this one my favorite knife, is kind of the story that goes behind it. So if I could say anything, if you're in the market for a bushcrafting type knife, check out Battle Horse Knives, check out LT Wright Knives, and check out Adam over at AA Forge. All of them are going to give you an awesome product for a great price. I mean, I guess that's relative as far as great price goes, but if you've bought fixed blade bushcraft knives, custom knives before, you can see the value and what you're paying for with these. Obviously, you can buy cheaper knives, but I've had probably 24 knives from Blind Horse and LT, and they'll last you just forever. I mean, nothing's ever going to happen to them, and if they don't, they're going to stand behind it and they're going to take care of it and make it right for you. But I've never had an issue with any, and I've really tried to have issues with them, and you just can't. But but yeah, excuse me. just thought I'd make this video and show you guys, start with knives. You guys wanted to see, a few people wanted to see more about the bushcrafting stuff and the gear. So those are the knives that I use. I use others. I've got a ton more, but these are the two that I really use the most. And this one by far is my favorite user at this point. That's Adam at AA Forge. I'll leave links to all the 3 companies I mentioned down below. And at the end of this video, I'll have some, I'll put up some of the bushcraft videos as the related videos. I think these new card things that they allow us to do through YouTube instead of making them ourselves like we used to have to are super awesome, and it gives you guys that make it through the whole video a chance to see other videos that are kind of related to this or whatever you decide to put up there. But I'll put the one about the Gary Wine's Bushcrafter from LT up there, and maybe I'll go back and find some of those BHK debriefing videos. Those were fun. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. If you're into this kind of thing, let me know below. I don't want to chase everybody off. Lots of new subscribers. Thanks to all you guys for coming over. But I don't want to chase you off with stuff that you're not interested in. But I would like to make some more of these videos. It is always a good time for me. And I really love the gear. So showing you guys some of that stuff would be fun for me as well. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Probably a bit long-winded and probably tired of listening to my voice. I've been battling this cold for a few days now, but I'm on the mend. So without keeping you any longer, thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment. Tell me what you thought. And don't forget to click that little bell down there to get notifications if you're new to the channel. So that's it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow with another video.